Moment 1. Barcelona, 6-1. Paris Saint-Germain, 2017. Champions League, Round of 16. On March 8, 2017, Barcelona hosted Paris Saint-Germain at the Camp Nou for the second leg of the UEFA Champions League, Round of 16. The first leg in Paris had ended in a 4-0 defeat for Barcelona, a scoreline that was virtually unprecedented at this stage of the competition. No team in Champions League history had ever come back from a 4-goal deficit in a knockout round. The media, pundits, and even most fans had written off Barcelona's chances. The return leg was expected to be a formality, but Barcelona came out with purpose. In the third minute, Luis Suarez headed in the opening goal, exploiting confusion between the PSG goalkeeper and defenders. By halftime, Barcelona were 2-0 up after a Layvin Kurzawa own goal. Early in the second half, Lionel Messi converted a penalty to make it 3-0. Suddenly, the unthinkable looked possible. However, in the 62nd minute, Edinson Cavani scored for PSG, making it 3-1 on the night and 5-3 on aggregate. That away goal meant Barcelona would now need 3 more goals to qualify, with only around 30 minutes left. What happened next was chaos. In the 88th minute, Neymar scored a stunning free kick from outside the box. Just 2 minutes later, he converted a penalty, making it 5-1. Then, in stoppage time, Neymar lofted a ball into the box, and Sergi Roberto made a perfectly timed run, poking the ball past the PSG goalkeeper to make it 6-1. Barcelona had done the impossible. 6-1 on the night, 6-5 on aggregate. The Camp Nou erupted. Paris Saint-Germain, who had been minutes away from qualification, collapsed under pressure. The comeback felt surreal, not just because of the scoreline, but because of the dramatic sequence of events in the final 7 minutes. Barcelona's relentless attack, Neymar's decisive role, and PSG's total loss of composure created a football moment that still doesn't feel real. The match is now known simply as La Remontada, the comeback. Moment 2. Robert Lewandowski scores 5 goals in 9 minutes. Bayern Munich versus Wolfsburg, 2015. On September 22, 2015, Bayern Munich faced Wolfsburg in a Bundesliga match at the Allianz Arena. At halftime, Bayern were trailing 1-0, and coach Pep Guardiola made a substitution that would lead to one of the most jaw-dropping displays in football history. Robert Lewandowski was brought on in the second half. What happened next still defies belief. In the 51st minute, Lewandowski scored his first goal, a sharp finish inside the box. Less than a minute later, he scored again with a left-footed shot from distance. In the 55th minute, he completed his hat trick after a goal-mouth scramble. Then, in the 57th minute, he struck again with a clinical finish. The 5th goal came in the 60th minute, and it was the most spectacular of them all, an acrobatic volley that sent the ball crashing into the net. 5 goals, 9 minutes. No one had seen anything like it. Lewandowski's performance broke multiple records: the fastest hat trick in Bundesliga history, 4 minutes, the fastest 4 goals, 6 minutes, and the fastest 5 goals ever scored in a major European league, 9 minutes. Even Guardiola, known for his stoic presence, was seen putting his hands on his head in disbelief on the touchline. The quality of the goals was equally stunning. This wasn't a fluke. It wasn't a weak defense. Wolfsburg were the Bundesliga runners-up the previous season and had just beaten Bayern in the German Super Cup. Lewandowski's goals were a mix of technical brilliance, speed, precision, and instinct. To this day, the feat remains one of the most unreal individual performances in football and is considered by many as the most dominant 9 minutes ever seen on a football pitch. Manchester City win the Premier League in the 94th minute. Aguero versus QPR, 2012, May 13th, 2012. It was the final day of the Premier League season. Manchester City and Manchester United were level on points, but City had a superior goal difference. All they had to do was win their home game against relegation-threatened Queen's Park Rangers. Simple on paper, but what unfolded became one of the most unforgettable endings in football history. City took the lead through Pablo Zabaleta in the first half, but QPR equalized early in the second. Then, in the 66th minute, Jamie Mackie scored with a header to make it 2-1 to QPR. At the same time, Manchester United were winning their match against Sunderland. With both games in the final minutes, United were moments away from stealing the title. As the clock hit 90 minutes at the Etihad Stadium, City were still trailing 2-1. Fans were in shock. Some had left the stadium. Then Edin Dzeko equalized with a header in the 92nd minute. City needed one more. In the 94th minute, Mario Balotelli received the ball at the edge of the box but stumbled. As he fell, he managed to poke a short pass to Sergio Aguero, With composure and precision, Aguero burst past a defender and smashed the ball into the net. The stadium erupted. Commentator Martin Tyler's iconic scream of "Aguero" became instantly legendary. Manchester City had won the match 3-2 and secured their first league title in 44 years. The goal was the latest title-clinching goal in Premier League history, coming at 93 minutes and 20 seconds. The drama, the stakes, the timing, it all combined into one of those rare sports moments that feels scripted, but it was real. Aguero's goal didn't just win a game, it shifted the power balance in English football and became a defining image of the Premier League era. Cole Palmer scores 4 goals in one half. Chelsea vs Everton, 2024. On April 15, 2024, Chelsea hosted Everton at Stamford Bridge in a Premier League clash. Cole Palmer, who had joined Chelsea from Manchester City earlier that season, had already shown flashes of brilliance throughout the campaign. But on this night, he produced a performance that elevated him into elite company. Palmer scored his first goal just 13 minutes into the match with a calm, composed finish. By the 18th minute, he had added another, this time intercepting a poor pass and curling it beyond the goalkeeper. His hat trick was complete by the 29th minute, slotting home from the penalty spot with precision and confidence. But Palmer wasn't done. In the 44th minute, just before halftime, he scored his 4th goal of the evening with a left-footed strike from the edge of the box. In just one half of football, Cole Palmer had become the first player in Premier League history to score 4 goals before halftime. He finished the game with a perfect hat trick, left foot, right foot, header, and added a penalty for good measure. Chelsea went on to win the match 6-0, but it was Palmer's individual performance that made headlines around the world. What made the feat even more astonishing was Palmer's age, just 21 at the time, and the fact that he had only become a first-team regular that season. The variety, timing, and composure of the goals suggested a maturity well beyond his years. Performances like this are rare, not just because of the number of goals, but because of how dominant and efficient they are. Palmer's display wasn't chaotic or accidental. It was calculated, clinical, and relentless. A 21-year-old scoring 4 in 45 minutes in the Premier League? For many, it felt like something that should only happen in a video game. John Terry's slip, 2008 Champions League final penalty shootout. On May 21, 2008, Manchester United and Chelsea met in the UEFA Champions League final in Moscow. It was the first all-English final in the competition's history. After a 1-1 draw through extra time, the match went to penalties. For Chelsea, this was more than just a title. It was a chance to make history by winning their first ever Champions League trophy. When John Terry, the club captain and symbol of their identity, stepped up for the 5th penalty, the stage was set for him to become a legend. If he scored, Chelsea would win the Champions League. United had already missed 1 penalty. The rain was pouring down and the pitch was soaked. Terry approached the ball, planted his left foot, and slipped. His standing leg gave way, and the ball skewed off his boot, striking the outside of the post and flying wide. Instead of celebration, Chelsea were stunned. United equalized in the next round of penalties and eventually won the shootout 6-5. The image of Terry on his knees, crying in the rain, became one of the most haunting visuals in modern football. It wasn't just the miss, it was the moment. A single kick to define a career. A slip that turned victory into heartbreak. The conditions were terrible, the pressure unbearable, and fate cruel. Terry, known for his composure and leadership, had seen it all vanish in a second. To this day, that penalty miss feels like something out of a nightmare. It wasn't just a miss. It was a collapse under circumstances so rare and specific that fans still talk about it with disbelief. Chelsea would eventually lift the trophy in 2012, but the memory of Moscow, and the slip, remains one of the most surreal and emotionally charged moments in Champions League history. Liverpool 4-0 Barcelona, 2019 Champions League semi-final. On May 7, 2019, Liverpool hosted Barcelona at Anfield for the second leg of the UEFA Champions League semi-final. In the first leg at Camp Nou, Barcelona had won 3-0, with goals from Luis Suarez and a stunning Lionel Messi free kick. Coming into the second leg, Liverpool were without 2 of their main attacking stars, Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino. Most pundits and fans believed Barcelona were already through to the final. The idea that Liverpool could overturn a 3-goal deficit against a side led by Messi seemed impossible. But what followed was one of the most remarkable comebacks in football history. In the 7th minute, Divock Origi, starting due to injuries, capitalized on a rebound to put Liverpool ahead. The goal injected belief into the stadium. In the second half, substitute Georginio Wijnaldum scored twice in the 54th and 56th minutes to level the tie on aggregate. The intensity in Anfield reached fever pitch. Then came the moment that defined the match. In the 79th minute, Trent Alexander-Arnold took a quick corner kick while the Barcelona defense was still organizing. Origi met it with a first-time finish into the top corner. Barcelona were stunned. Liverpool had scored 4 goals without reply and won the tie 4-3 on aggregate, booking their place in the Champions League final. The comeback felt unreal, not only due to the deficit and missing players, but because of how composed and aggressive Liverpool played. The quick corner became an iconic symbol of their mentality. Barcelona's collapse, having fielded players like Messi, Suarez, and Piqué, added to the shock. The result eliminated a team that had dominated La Liga and had rested players ahead of the tie. This match is still considered one of the greatest turnarounds in football, and for many it remains difficult to believe it actually happened. Divock Origi. From benchwarmer to Barcelona slayer, 2019. Divock Origi had spent most of the 2018 to 2019 season as a backup striker for Liverpool. He started just 6 Premier League games that year and was often left out of major matchday squads entirely. But on May 7, 2019, in the second leg of the Champions League semi-final against Barcelona, with Mohamed Salah and Roberto Firmino both injured, Jurgen Klopp gave Origi a rare start. What followed was one of the most unlikely hero performances in modern football. Origi opened the scoring in the 7th minute, reacting quickly to finish a rebound from a saved shot. His energy and movement kept Barcelona's defense under pressure, even if he wasn't as technically gifted as the players he replaced. In the second half, after 2 goals from substitute Georginio Wijnaldum had leveled the tie, Origi stepped up once more. In the 79th minute, Liverpool won a corner. As Barcelona's defenders switched off, Trent Alexander-Arnold whipped in a fast low cross while looking in the other direction. Origi, alert to the opportunity, finished it with a calm first-time strike into the roof of the net. The goal made it 4-0 on the night and 4-3 on aggregate. Barcelona had collapsed, and Liverpool were through to the final. Origi, the unlikely protagonist, had scored 2 of the most important goals in the club's recent history. Weeks later, he would score again in the Champions League final to seal Liverpool's 6th European title. From a forgotten man to a cult hero, Origi's transformation in a single night felt like something out of a movie. A bench warmer who hadn't been trusted all season delivered in the biggest game of the year, against a team led by Lionel Messi. It's a performance that still doesn't feel real. Luis Figo's shocking transfer from Barcelona to Real Madrid, 2000. In July 2000, one of the most controversial and unbelievable transfers in football history shook the sport to its core. Luis Figo, Barcelona's captain, star playmaker, and a fan favorite, signed with arch-rivals Real Madrid. The transfer wasn't just unexpected, it was considered betrayal of the highest order by Barcelona supporters. Figo had repeatedly assured fans he would never leave the club. His sudden switch ignited fury across Catalonia. Real Madrid president Florentino Perez had just entered the club's presidential race, and one of his campaign promises was to bring Figo to Madrid. Most people thought it was a publicity stunt until it happened. Perez activated Figo's release clause, which stood at an astronomical 60 million euros, making him the most expensive player in football history at the time. Barcelona had no legal option but to let him go. The fallout was instant and intense. When Figo returned to Camp Nou in a Real Madrid shirt, he was met with the most hostile reception ever seen in Spanish football. Every time he touched the ball, he was booed relentlessly. Fans threw bottles, lighters, and even a pig's head onto the pitch. The game was temporarily stopped due to the chaos in the stands. The visual of a pig's head lying near the corner flag has become an enduring symbol of football fury. Figo's transfer didn't just reshape El Clásico, it ushered in a new era of aggressive Galactico signings by Real Madrid. The sheer disbelief surrounding the move, the venom of the reaction, and the long-term ripple effect it had on both clubs make it one of the most surreal football moments ever. Even decades later, fans and players still describe that transfer as something that felt too outrageous to be real. Zlatan Ibrahimovic's bicycle kick from 35 yards, Sweden versus England, 2012. On November 14, 2012, Sweden faced England in a friendly match to inaugurate the Friends Arena in Stockholm. England led 2-1 at one point, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic took over the match with a performance that would go down as one of the most absurd displays of individual brilliance. He scored all 4 of Sweden's goals in a 4-2 win, but it was his 4th goal that left the football world speechless. In the 91st minute, England goalkeeper Joe Hart came out of his box to head the ball clear. The ball dropped to Ibrahimovic, who, without letting it bounce, launched into a full bicycle kick from over 35 yards out. The ball sailed high into the air, over Hart, and into the net. It was not only an acrobatic feat, but one that defied logic in terms of angle, timing, and technique. No one had attempted a bicycle kick from that distance in a competitive setting, let alone in a full-speed international match. The strike was immediately hailed as one of the greatest goals of all time. It won the 2013 FIFA Puskas Award for Goal of the Year. The technique, vision, and audacity required to even attempt such a goal made it feel like a video game glitch rather than a real-life moment. Even hardened critics and rival fans had to acknowledge the sheer improbability of what they'd just seen. To this day, Zlatan's 35-yard bicycle kick remains one of the most replayed and analyzed goals in modern football history. It defied the laws of physics, timing, and logic, one of those moments where even the players on the pitch stood frozen, unsure if what had just happened was actually real.